Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Ockwell-Smith. Welcome to my latest SOS parenting video. Today I want to talk about dropping little ones off at daycare, childcare, childminder's house, whatever sort of form of childcare you use, or preschool. What I'm not doing here is talking about how to prepare them before you start. That will be another video to follow after. But what I am talking about is how to actually drop them off, how to get them used to the setting. Now, I favour introducing them in small steps, and I know that this is not always possible with COVID restrictions, but it's certainly something that I would be talking to the setting about when you're applying and when you're talking about settling them in and seeing what they can do with any COVID restrictions they have. So I favour a method that follows similarly to something called the Berlin adjustment method. So Berlin as in a city in Germany. And what this works on is taking baby steps really to settle your child into the setting. So you're starting off first of all with you with them, so they get used to the setting and the other children and the staff in the setting whilst you're there. And then if that goes well, then slowly you take you out of the equation for longer and longer. So ideally you're going to have about a week to be able to do this, and it would be better if it was a week with concurrent days rather than say going every Monday for 7 weeks. So in the first 3 days, the aim is that you're just with your child and you're going to go into the nursery or into the childminder's house, into the preschool, and stay with them, rather like a stay and play setting, like if you were going to a toddler group or something. It doesn't have to be for very long. It could be half an hour or an hour, but it's really important that the primary caregiver, so one of the parents, stays with the child. And so what you're doing is basically saying to them, look, it's good here, it's happy here, I'm relaxed, you can be relaxed. So on the first day, just go play. You don't even really have to interact with anybody else there. It's all about the setting and just playing with your child and just saying to them, it's okay, you can, not actually saying, but saying with your language, your body language, it's okay, you can be safe and happy here. On the second or third day, it's good if the child's happy, you can interact a bit more with the staff. So like one of the staff members maybe could come and approach you and invite your child to play with them. But it's not about the separation on those first 3 days. It really is just about being there with the child and them being comfortable and seeing you comfortable and getting to know everybody with the safety of you there. So it is absolutely okay if they cling on to you for dear life for a day or two. That's, kind of to be expected. Please don't worry about it. On day 4, so ideally if you started on the Monday, this would be the Thursday, you're going to try for your very first separation, providing that the child seems happy on those first 3 days. If they're not seeming happy, then you maybe want to extend the time you're with them a little bit more. So on day 4, you're going to just try to pop out for 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that, really, really short. You want to be sort of out of view of the child, but don't go far away. So maybe you can go and sit outside and read a book if there's a garden or a bench nearby or something like that, just to see how your child gets on in your absence. But it's really important your absence is really short. And the other thing is if your child is really struggling, really is not showing any signs at all of settling for the caregiver, and by this, I don't mean not crying. Crying's okay, but what we would want to see is that the caregiver can start to settle them a little bit, even if the crying doesn't stop, but they take a little bit of comfort. If they don't, then you want to have a phone with you and you go straight back in. If that goes well and they can go do sort of 20 minutes, half an hour without you and they don't seem too upset and they do settle for the caregiver, the next day you want to try and extend that time a little bit. So if you did half an hour on the first day, try for 45 minutes or an hour for the second day. If your child really struggles and they didn't settle for their caregiver, go back to those stay and play sessions for another couple of days and then try it again next week. And then what you want to try to do is over the next sort of 3, 4, 5 days is to try to build up that time away from your child until you're sort of, half an hour of the time that you're going to be away from them. But you're doing it in tiny small baby steps that lets them know that they're safe, allows them to build a good relationship with whoever's going to be their primary caregiver there. So if they have either the childminder, if they have a worker at the nursery or the preschool who's responsible particularly for your child, or maybe they may actually make an attachment with somebody else who's not their key worker, in which case you may want to ask, is it possible to switch key workers? But what you're doing is allowing your child to feel safe. Most importantly is knowing that you always come back, and knowing that they never have to get too distressed and you come back, because it's the presence of having you there, showing them you're safe, combined with knowing that if they're very, very distressed that you come back, that's what's going to really help them to settle. So what I would do is have a chat with the childcare setting or the preschool, whatever it is we're talking about, and say, I'd like to follow something similar to the Berlin adjustment setting. Hopefully they should have heard of it, and get some input from them, ask if it's possible with COVID, and see if you can do a version of it as close to as possible. But really work at your child's pace. I wouldn't be leaving them for a full day until I'd had at least sort of 7 or 8 settling in sessions, leaving them for shorter periods of time. I hope that helped. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.